How you pay for your medical treatment after an accident determines how much money you're actually going to keep when your case settles. In this video, we're going to break down medical liens versus health insurance, when each one makes sense, and how to protect your settlement from being eaten up by medical bills. This is one of my favorite topics, and I look forward to talking to you guys about it. It's how we engineer numbers for clients. Hi, I'm David Bronze. I started my career working for the insurance companies, and that meant my job was figuring out how to pay people like you as little as possible. Seeing how that system worked from the inside is exactly why I'm sharing these videos with you. Knowledge is power. I want you to know the same tricks I used to use against people so you can flip the script and protect yourself. If you need to talk to an attorney you can trust, we're always here at Bronze Law. Just give us a call. Let's get into it. All right, people assume their health insurance is going to cover everything, but then they're shocked when their health insurance company demands to be paid back out of their settlement. We call that subrogation. Or they see a doctor on a lien without understanding what they're agreeing to, and suddenly they owe $30,000 to medical providers when their settlement is only $40,000. This is one of those areas where making the wrong choice early on about your medical care and how it gets paid can cost you thousands of dollars later. So let me walk you through both options. We're going to talk about the pros and cons of each and how to protect yourself no matter which route you take. All right, so there's two ways to pay for medical treatment. After a car accident, there are two main ways to get your medical bills paid other than just paying cash out of your pocket. The first option is to use your health insurance, and that's the traditional route that most people are familiar with. The second option is to see doctors who accept what's called a medical lien, L-I-E-N, which means treatment now and payment later from your settlement, kind of like an IOU. So what exactly is a medical lien? A medical lien, L-I-E-N, is a legal agreement where the doctor agrees to treat you now and get paid later out of your settlement. You don't pay anything out of pocket at the time of treatment, but the doctor has a legal right to be paid from your settlement before you get your money. Think of it like the doctor saying, I'll treat you now, but when you get your settlement, you pay me first. Now, if you use your health insurance instead, the insurance company is going to pay the bills as you go, just like you are getting medical care outside of a case. And it's going to be minus your copays and deductibles. Again, just like treatment outside of a case. But here's the part most people don't know. Your health insurance company can also put a lien on your settlement. That's called subrogation. That means they can get reimbursed for what they paid out. So even if you use your health insurance, you might, sometimes you don't, but you might owe them money later when your case settles. So now that you understand what both options are and how both can take money out of your settlement, let's talk about when each one makes sense, because this isn't a one-size-fits-all situation. Let's start with medical liens. Medical liens aren't always bad, and in fact, if you don't have health insurance, it's the way people get medical care in a personal injury case without having to pay out of pocket. Sometimes they're also the better option when you do have health insurance. There are four main situations where liens can work in your favor. First, they help you avoid copays and deductibles. Let's say you have a $5,000 deductible on your health insurance and a 20% coinsurance. And let's say your medical care costs $20,000. That means under your health insurance plan, you're going to pay $5,000 up front, your deductible, plus 20% of the remaining $15,000, which is another $3,000. That's $8,000 out of your pocket right now. With a lien, you pay nothing up front. So if you can't afford high out-of-pocket costs while you're injured and not working, a lien can keep you from going into debt immediately. It can also keep money in your pocket to pay other bills like utilities, cell phone, gas, car insurance. The second benefit of getting medical care on a lien is that you can get treatment faster without the bureaucracy. Health insurance often requires prior authorization, referrals, and an approval process. This can delay treatment by weeks or even months, and it creates medical gaps that the insurers will argue lower your case. But with liens, doctors will often see you within days and start treatment immediately. I've had clients who needed an MRI to diagnose their injuries, and with health insurance, they were told they'd have to wait 3 weeks for approval. If we put that MRI under lien with a doctor, they're getting the MRI in 2 days, no questions asked. The third benefit of using a medical lien, and this is a big one, is we can often negotiate deep discounts on medical bills. And this is where having an attorney becomes crucial. Lien doctors will often agree to reduce their bills significantly when it's time to settle your case. I've negotiated medical bills down from $25,000 to $8,000 or even less. That means that difference, that $17,000, stays in your pocket instead of going to the doctor. With health insurance bills, they're usually fixed and there's less room to negotiate. The fourth benefit of using medical liens: there's no subrogation issues. When you use a lien doctor, there's no health insurance coming back later demanding to be reimbursed from you. You know exactly what you owe because it's clearly stated in the lien agreement. With health insurance, you might not know how much they'll demand back until the very end of your case, or even worse, the case settles and you hear from them 6-12 months later. Now, all that sounds pretty good, right? But before you rush out and see a doctor on a lien, you need to know the downsides, because there are some serious risks if you're not careful. When medical liens can hurt you. Liens aren't automatically the better choice. There are situations where using your health insurance is going to make more sense. First, medical liens can eat up your entire settlement. If your settlement is small and your medical bills are high, those liens can take everything. I've seen cases where someone's settlement was $30,000, but their medical liens totaled $28,000. If you start doing the math, after attorney's fees, they're gonna walk away with almost nothing. If your case is relatively minor, using health insurance might leave you with more money in the end. This is why, by the way, Bronze Law has a client net guarantee. We guarantee in our contract that you sign with us that you will not end up paying the law firm more than what you're walking away with after paying the firm and all your medical liens if you settle before filing a lawsuit. We are aligned in making sure your numbers don't get upside down and the medical liens eat up all the money, because otherwise we have to adjust our fee. All right, let's talk about the second reason why medical liens sometimes aren't the best idea, and it's doctors don't negotiate. Some lien doctors are reasonable and they'll reduce their bills. Others refuse to budge and demand full payment, and they're a nightmare. You need to know upfront whether the doctor is willing to negotiate before you agree to treatment. If you see a lien doctor who won't negotiate and your bills skyrocket, you could be stuck paying the full amount. The third downside and risk to lien doctors is that some may overtreat. Think about it. They're getting paid from your settlement, which means sometimes they're incentivized to recommend more treatment than you actually need. And they're usually also getting paid a better rate than health insurance. This can cause them to inflate your bills and also make your case look suspicious to insurance companies. You need to make sure you're seeing a reputable doctor who's treating you based on your medical needs, not just trying to run up the bill. We've got a saying at Bronze Law: treat the patient, not the case. The fourth possible downside to using medical liens is you're locked into paying them. Once you sign that lien agreement, your doctor has a legal right to be paid from your settlement. If the settlement is lower than expected, you still owe them. With health insurance, you pay your copay and you're done. There are no surprise bills later. So how do you decide which option is right for you? The decision is going to depend on several factors unique to your case. Like lawyers say, it depends. But let me give you a framework for making the decision. First, how serious were your injuries? If you have minor injuries like soft tissue damage, whiplash, or strained back, or short-term treatment needs, then health insurance can often make more sense. If you have serious injuries that require surgeries, long-term care, or expensive diagnostics, liens sometimes might make more sense because you can negotiate them down later. If you're just doing a few weeks of physical therapy, use your health insurance. But if you need an MRI, injections, or surgery, you need to talk to an attorney about whether a lien makes sense. Ask them how all the numbers work. Second, what are your out-of-pocket costs associated with your health insurance? If you have a high deductible and high copays, a lien might be the better option. If you have a low or no deductible, health insurance may be better. Pull out your insurance card and check your deductible and co-insurance percentages before making this decision. Third, does your health insurance have subrogation rights? That's the legal right to be paid back. Some health insurance plans don't seek legal subrogation or don't have a right to it. Look, and this is really complicated and depends on the type of your plan and how it's filed with the federal government. Other health insurers are going to aggressively pursue reimbursement. Call your insurance company and ask if they have subrogation rights. And sometimes they lie, by the way. If they say yes, ask them how much they'll typically seek in reimbursement. This will help you understand what you might owe them later. But the bottom line, this is legally complex and you need an attorney to evaluate whether your health insurance plan has a right to be reimbursed or not. Georgia has some really strong laws that says they don't have to be reimbursed. So the legal question is whether your health insurance plan is governed by Georgia law, which favors you, or federal law, which allows the insurers to get reimbursed. Again, very complicated legally, and you need to talk to a lawyer. Fourth part of the framework, can you negotiate the lien down? If you're working with an attorney who has a relationship with a lien doctor and a track record of negotiating those bills down, liens can actually work in your favor. If you're handling the case on your own, you're going to have much less negotiation power. Before you see a lien doctor, you want to ask your attorney if they have successfully negotiated with that provider before. The bottom line is this isn't a decision you should make on your own without understanding the consequences. What seems cheaper upfront might cost you more in the end. What seems expensive right now might actually save you thousands of dollars later. The key is understanding your specific situation and planning ahead. This is super important stuff we're talking about, where you're engineering your net amount, what you're walking away with. And this decision, what we've talked about here, is probably the biggest variable in your net. Now that we've gotten through all that, I want you to know, if you've been in a car accident in Georgia and you're trying to figure out how to pay for medical treatment without it eating up your settlement and what numbers and options will benefit you in the end, call us. This is what we do. We're going to look at your health insurance, explain your options with medical liens, and come up with a plan that gets you the treatment you need while also protecting as much of your settlement as possible. Now, once you understand how to handle your medical bills, the next frustration most people face is waiting for their settlement. Why do some cases drag on for months or even years? In my next video, I'm going to show you why Georgia car accident cases stall and exactly what you can do to speed up your settlement. See you on the next one.